Today on the Daniel Baldwin Show, Flag Day is tomorrow, and President Trump is going to roll it out for the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary. Today on the Daniel Baldwin Show. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Daniel Baldwin Show. It is the 13th of June, the day before Flag Day. And today we're going to be talking about President Trump, Flag Day, and the United States Army 250th anniversary. But first, we have viewer mail. Tom Canigliaro of Waco, Texas, has this to say. Hey, Mr. Baldwin, what was it like growing up on Long Island? I grew up in Patchogue. What did you think about your upbringing? Well, I guess Tom Canigliaro moved to Texas, but he grew up on the island. I will have to tell you that Long Island was a great place to grow up. It really was. I mean, you had just enough of a feeling of New York City that it influenced things we were going to do. We did things in the city to, from New York Knicks games to adventures to the Statue of Liberty. We went to Brooklyn a lot to see my father's mother and father, my grandparents on my father's side. But Long Island was, we had the ocean influence. The schools in my town that I was from, Massapequa, were excellent school system. My dad taught at Massapequa High School. We went to the other high school in the town, Berner High School. But I would have to say that of the various places, I've seen suburbs of San Diego that are beautiful. Of course, I spent a lot of time in Malibu and Los Angeles. I think that was quite nice too. But those places that offer, from people don't realize Long Island has huge farms in Suffolk County. The area of the island is out in the ocean the most. There's two counties basically on Long Island. Well, there's Brooklyn and Queens, which are technically part of the island. But there's Nassau County, which is a more highly populated, and a lot of people in Nassau County use the Long Island Railroad, which is, I still believe, the #1 busiest commuter rail in the country, in our country, and maybe in North America. I don't know about railroads in Mexico. But anyway, growing up on Long Island, Tom, I think was a gift. I think it was great. So much so, in fact, that my wife and I, we have a young son, William Bat Baldwin. We call him Bat. And we've talked about different places. Right now we have, and I forget every time lately, to start the Purple Sand. We looked at, with our two teenage daughters that are my children from a previous marriage. We look at them and we think, we're in Atlanta right now. Should we finish up in Atlanta and then go do something we want to go do for a while? Because Bat, he won't really be going to junior high school or high school. My wife thinks it's important to have him raised in the same junior high school and high school system. And we've looked at Massapequa. I mean, it's expensive to live in Massapequa. The houses are, where I would want to live are, a couple $1 million. And then you'd have to pay the taxes. And because the school is so good and the athletic programs and, the high school is, one of the best on the island. So we'd love to have that influence on our son. I'm just not sure that it's going to end up that way, but we're looking at it. So all in all, I would say raising my family and being raised on Long Island was a great, great plus. So thanks for your letter, Tom. And by the way, everyone, thank you for subscribing and thank you for watching the show and thank you for liking the show. If you'd be so kind as to like the show, subscribe to the show, share the show to people so we can up our viewership, that would be great for all of us. And I would really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Let's talk. It's the 13th of June. Let's talk about the 14th of June. Let's talk about what's coming up tomorrow. Let me read this to you first. Former President Donald Trump. Now, this is a CNN report, right? This is a report that came out like a week or so ago. Former President Donald Trump, they write. Why would you write that he's the former president? What kind of slap in the face is that CNN writes, former President Donald Trump is focusing on Flag Day, June 14th, in connection with the upcoming 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army. He's promoting a spectacular military parade in Washington, D.C. on that day, celebrating the Army's anniversary and showcasing the strength of the U.S. military. Trump mentioned the parade will be like nothing you've ever seen before, featuring soldiers in historical and modern uniforms, military vehicles, and flyovers. There has been more press and more negativity about this parade at the 250 250th anniversary of the United States Army. Why? Why is this catching? It doesn't matter what he does. It doesn't matter what he supports. So let me tell you a little bit more about Flag Day. Flag Day is a U.S. national observance, not a federal holiday, celebrated on June 14th each year to commemorate the adoption of the American flag on June 14th, 1777. It is a day to honor the nation's flag, the stars and stripes, and its historical significance. So it's not a national holiday. Banks aren't getting closed, and people aren't going to not go to work, and they get paid, and schools are not closed, and whatever, summer schools, whatever's going on. Some schools are still open all the way up until the 20s of June. But the point of it is, it's I guess about the money that they're yelling and screaming about. So it's going to be, I think, an estimated $25 million, $25 million, 25 or more $1 million for the parade that's going to celebrate 250 years of the United States Army. So I thought, well, let me ask Google, let me ask AI, have we done this before? Have there been other parades? And it turns out there have been many. So this one, yes, the U.S. has had military parades in the past, including one held in 1991 to celebrate the end of the Gulf War. A recent parade to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army is scheduled for June 14th, which is obviously what the crux of our story is today. Why I bring it up is because I look at some of the things that are going on, DOGE, tariffs, healthcare, Social Security, military bills, spending, locking people up that have ripped off the government and stolen our tax dollars. It can go on and on and on and on. The things that we can say we like about the administration, we don't like about the administration, we don't like that Biden did, we do like what Biden did. But it depends on obviously what side of the aisle you're sitting and how open you are to receiving what truly matters. So $25 million to celebrate and say thank you for the pride we have in our flag and the 250 years of service the United States Army has given us. And so I get almost sad. I do. I get welled up in a way when I think of the stuff that has recently been uncovered, the stuff that has recently gone past Elon Musk's team and the president's administration, and more of it, has been canceled and shut off. And what's sad is because of the illegal activity, because of the waste and the stealing of money, the misappropriation of funds, you've seen other programs that are important that people on the left and people in general are saying, we can't discontinue that program to feed these children. We can't discontinue medicines that are going towards kids that they need, that are vital to their survival. But see, they're buried in a program that money is being stolen, a vast majority of the money. So very little of the money is getting to the children. So initially, it's going to require shutting off the whole faucet and then redirecting the money properly as it gets voted to be displaced, to the necessary parties that need it. So in other words, here, USAID, I need $100 million for these poor children in Chad. And, it has nothing to do with what the government of Chad or the terrorists of Chad, these kids just aren't eating. And so we send and appropriate the money and it goes over in tranches of $20 million payments. And you find out that 19 million of it went into the pockets of people, some of them in the US who brokered the deal, some of them in Chad, some of them on the way over, some of them, and $4 million got into feeding the children. Granted, the 4 million went a long way, but what happened to the other 96 million? And so that's what's going on here. That's what's been happening. But when I look at I have a dear friend, Diana Carter, who served, in the Army. She's a production partner of mine, in many different film and television projects. And she's a proud servicewoman. She did the do. She saw action, the whole bit. She's raised 2 kids. Her ex-husband is also a proud server of this country in the military. I don't know how I could say thank you to particularly people like her that I know well. I don't know how I could justify my not applauding $25 million for a big parade that puts all the tanks out there on the street and allows people to line up and salute and reminds them of how much has been given to them for their freedom. And we can't agree that as we have former presidents' daughters building mansions with money that was allocated through the Obama administration. This is the story that I heard. This is the story that I read. Cars were bought, weddings are paid for, and no one has said boo-hoo. No one's done anything. There's over half of the allotted money for the parade. We don't owe these people some type of recognition. There isn't room for us to say in a nation that's one of the richest nations in the world, we shouldn't say thank you. I would think that everyone with any kind of conscience would be running behind this program of having this parade to say, as we lose the last 5% of the living World War II veterans, Vietnam War veterans are dying left and right now. They're almost, and Korean War, almost non-existent. And we're even getting into the 1990s where Desert Storm and some of those guys are getting kind of long in the tooth. They're getting older. They're just dying. So to be able to tell them how much we appreciate Omaha Beach, Versailles, I just think about Japan. I think about the engagements all through the islands south of Japan and in the Pacific Campaign. And, it goes on and on and on and on. And we can't agree that we're going to spend some money and have a nice big day and a big, beautiful day. And then, of course, I had to listen to it's Trump's birthday and that this is nothing more than a big birthday celebration for Trump. Trump hasn't played up his birthday on this. He hasn't said anything. I've barely heard. It happens to be, but it's Flag Day. So he's going to do it on Flag Day because we salute the flag, and we should salute the flag. We have people in our own country, stuff that if it happened when I was a teenager, we would have beat the crap out of somebody that was burning our flag. We'd have taken some foreigner that wants to protest, and they would have burnt our flag in our face like that. I know guys that were in the military that served, they would have gone nuts about that. It was considered a terrifying insult, and you never would have gotten away with doing it in front of us. Now, it's commonplace. We invite these people into our country. We tell them our country is better. They come into our country seeking some kind of asylum or an opportunity, health care, to move up the ladder, which would never happen where they were from, to not be oppressed, to not be blah, blah. And then they spit in our face and burn our flags and tie political dummies up and set them on fire. And I mean, it's just, go home then. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why can't we peacefully all agree that the 250-year anniversary of the United States Army is something to celebrate? It's a way to say thank you. And you're worried about how many golf rounds the president plays, and you're worried about how many, a parade that celebrates these people that gave their lives. Remember something too. I want you to always remember this when it comes to the military. It's not just the guy or girl who serves. It's their family. When someone comes back, a soldier comes back without a leg, when a soldier comes back without an arm, or is blind, or is disfigured, their whole family pays for that. The wife, stereotypically, the husband is serving, let's say, and the wife comes home. She's watching those kids during that 4-year deployment. She's home alone without her husband there to help her with her son or daughter or both. The family, the mother and father, worried about the child that they raised in the United States and so proud that they're going to serve their country, come back and they're not whole anymore. They're damaged due to injury. And psychologically, the PTSD level and the stuff that these soldiers come home with that they had to endure there, now they can't get it out of their mind. There's that too. And then, of course, the ultimate price that's paid. The ultimate price that's paid of giving your life. There's a mother with children that will never see their father again. There's brothers and sisters and friends, and there's siblings that'll never see their brother or sister again because they paid the ultimate price to defend this country. And we're bitching about a $25 million parade to say thank you to them on the anniversary of 250 years? That's a big thing, 250 years of service. No, we have to find something. We have to come up with, no matter what the administration does, no matter what one side does or the other side does, it doesn't matter. We have to find something to say that's wrong with it. We can't, we had the Oval Office address, and they put a little boy up there who survived cancer. And the Democrats didn't stand to applaud him. They made him some official dignitary they made him a cop. He dreamed about being a cop, so they brought him in and they gave him, a DC cop outfit. He was a kid. The Democrats didn't cheer for that. Just like I'm hearing so many people on the left bitch about this parade. This is for the Army. This is recognizing 250 years of service to keep us free in wars where thousands, hundreds of thousands of soldiers have died. And you're not okay with just having a parade because it costs $25 million? But you're not okay with Doge undercovering the misuse of billions of dollars. Zelensky and the Ukraine don't know where half the money, they can't account for where half of the money, hundreds of billions of dollars. And everyone's walking around going, well, Zelensky and the accounting office, they're off on Tuesday, and there's really not a lot that can, be done. You can't expect Zelensky to know. I mean, he's off wearing his black shirt and a gold chain, getting his picture taken somewhere. They can't account for the money because it's been misappropriated, because people are getting fat, people are getting rich, stocks are going way, way up, and a lot of the guys that own those stocks are friends of people that used to be president. Yeah, that's the real story. But you're okay with that. You're not going to say shit about that, are you? You're not going to say what we all should be saying, which is that this is treasonous. You knew what you were doing pre-auto pen, or the people that had the auto pen that signed it, because you had no clue after 2 years of being president. You couldn't even spell your name anymore, and they stole that money. And again, it's all right. It's all right, man. We'll see. We'll see about this congresswoman, and we'll see about this senator, and we'll see about, none of them are going to go to jail. Probably none of them are going to go to jail because they're insulated. They are the law. And you're worried about a parade. You're worried about something that's legit. You're worried about something that wells them up with pride because of what they gave. There are still World War II guys that tell their stories about what it was like on those beaches, about what it was like for them to hear the bombs and wonder if anyone was going to come get them. And next thing you know, another round of U.S. bombers came in and they got them out, and these guys made it. They don't deserve a parade? F you, they don't deserve a parade. That's right, I said it. F you. You don't like it, don't watch the parade, don't go. But you're sick in the head if you think these men and women don't deserve a parade. Really, it's so anti-American, it's incredible. They paid, and their friends paid. They watched their friends die in their arms in countries all over the world. They didn't earn one parade? Not one parade. It makes me sick. It makes me sick to think that you're supposed to be an American. Really, it does. So I read you about the Gulf War, but I want you to read this so I can put this in perspective, because this is going to be a shorter show. Because honestly, it makes me angry to think that I have to really talk about this, that there has to be this much controversy. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade costs an estimated $13 million each year. This includes expenses for the massive floats, elaborate costumes, and other parade-related costs. A 2023 report by MovieGuide.org stated that each year, the parade's massive floats, glittery costumes, and other expenses top $13 million. Another report by TheStreet.com also states that the parade costs over $13 million annually. Not included are the additional police officers, are the cleanup effort after the parade, and the number of people who take off from work and don't go, which then puts it in excess of $20 million to $25 million for the one-day parade. So let's say it's $20 million. Let's not call it 25. After cleanup, after the extra cops, fire department, EMS, everything else that has to be paid, security, you think that that's not a terrorist site? There's a lot of undercover people being involved in covering that. $20 million for the turkey to float by, for the giant goblin head for the whatever it is. 25 million, and this is every year. So in 10 years, it's $200 million. 10 years at 20 million. In 20 years, it's $400 million. No one blinks an eye about the Macy's Day Parade. Now, granted, I'm sure people are going to say, does Macy's pay that? Or who pays that bill? I didn't get a breakdown who pays it. What I will tell you, though, is 250 years of service and a one-day event that cost $25 million to thank them for their service, for the lives, and thank the families that we haven't forgotten you, for the lives that were paid, the ultimate price for our freedom as a nation. And in places like Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Korea, all through World War I and II. And the service every year to keep us safe, the security of the United States, here and abroad. You know, there's other smaller stuff, Benghazi, you know, I find it dumbfounding that people are putting up a stink. Why don't we just do this? Why don't we just all agree we have an awesome army, that we have a great country, that we're working really, really hard to make it great again. And as we celebrate the 250-year anniversary of the United States Army, its families, our soldiers, we can never really say thank you. But this small trinket parade is our way of saying we honor you and we think about you and we acknowledge you for the great service. And by the way, this one is for the Army. We have the Marines, the Navy, Air Force, Special Forces, the Coast Guard. I mean, there's a lot of service. Firemen, policemen, school teachers, civil servants. I mean, I appreciate it all. They're all underpaid. But when it comes to the military, you know, they and the police department and the fire department put their life on the line every time they get called. And so there's nothing I wouldn't do. They should all have a parade. Every one of them should have a parade. We should be thankful that we live in a country where you can pick up your phone and dial 911 and an armed security agent will be at your door, not even having to know you, knowing nothing about you. Same about the guy or girl that jumps out of an airplane. In a foreign country, doesn't speak the language, looks very different. You think they're not a mark and wears a uniform. And they jump out of an airplane to keep us free. You're not okay with having a parade for them? Shame on you. Shame on you people that are opposing this parade and have made a big stink about its price tag. Really, it's so sad. But you know what though? I'm going to do what I taught. I was taught what to do about these kinds of people in my life. Because I used to hate. I used to project, you know, if I see this guy, if I see that guy, I was gonna hit them, or I was gonna hurt them, or I was gonna, whatever it was, because you get so angry. Not that you were literally gonna do that, but you get so angry when you see foolishness like this. But I learned through my personal relationship with Jesus Christ that I don't do that anymore. I don't do it anymore. I pray for them. I do. I pray for them. I pray for people very close to me that act in ways that I just don't understand. Very close, like family members. I do. I look at them and I think, how could you have so much hate? How can you say and do some of the things that you do and then claim that you live a life that includes Jesus Christ? Because Christ never did that. Even to people that he didn't like, even if there was a reason to not like a certain person, Christ didn't do that. He stuck by the worst of the worst. And I'm not saying that me or my family or certain people that I'm close to are the worst of the worst. I'm just saying that the hate has left my heart. I don't hate anyone anymore. I pray for them. I feel sorry for them. I do. I have a lot of people I feel sorry for. So Lord, Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for your abundance, for your guidance, for your protective hand over our lives. And Lord, for those who don't really know you, who claim they know you, but they don't know you because they don't practice what they know. They know the words, but they don't know the actions, Lord. I ask you, Lord, let them be actionable. Help them step into your light and help them do the things they claim that they believe, but they don't do. And help those people who hate. Lord, help them, heal them, Lord, because their hating just blocks them from knowing you better. That is not what you asked of them. That is not what you directed them to do. Help them, Lord. Caress them gently so that they may find their actions to match their words. In your name we pray. Well, that's Flag Day show. Have a blessed day. And If you know a veteran, if you know someone that served or the family of someone that served, reach out to them. Send them a text. Just say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank your son for me. Thank your daughter for me. Just say thank you. God bless.